we're going to be talking about ecosystems and the environmental changes that happen. We're going to be looking at some biomes, talking about primary and secondary succession, and diversity of animals that are affected by environmental changes. Remember last week we talked about biotic things or living, such as plants and animals, and abiotic things are not living, such as rocks, water, the sun, and wind. Now we are going to talk about biomes. A biome is a community that is classified by the vegetation, the plants, and the animals or organisms that are in that area. Another example is the desert. So only plants that can survive in the desert, like a cactus, live there. Only animals, such as lizards and snakes, can live there. So an example of a biome is the ocean. Thinking about the ocean, only whales can live in the ocean, or fish, because they need water. So the ocean is an example of a habitat. This is a place where an organism lives and grows. Another example of a habitat is the forest or a tree. That's where it can live and grow. Inside of habitats, like a forest, you have smaller habitats, such as under rocks or inside trees. These are smaller, very small habitats, such as rocks. You can lift up and see bugs or snakes that live there. In a forest, you have many different animals and plants that live there. This is called biodiversity, meaning a number of different species and plants are all living in the same area. The population of a group interacting of individual species that are located in that area. So if we look at the biodiversity and we pick one animal, so an example, a turtle, that one group of how many turtles in the area, that is the population. Over time, when an animal figures out a way to survive better, they make adaptations. This is a process in which a population becomes better suited for the environment by increasing the number of alleles that provide benefit for surviving and reproduction. Succession is a series of changes in a specific area that makes up a community over time. There are two types of succession which we will talk about more. This is an example of what the primary succession looks like. When you have a fire or a tornado and it destroys the climax community, then the plants start to rebuild. This is secondary succession. What is the climax community? That just means that the succession has ended or stopped. The plants are as big and full as possible in an area, and it is full of animals, big and small. A climax community is the healthiest, most stable community that you can have. Your environment can change. So what happens when you have a short-term environmental change? This can happen quickly, and it does not have to last a long time. A short-term environmental change might be the weather. If rain happens and it floods an area, or if the seasons change, they change for a short time. What is climate? Climate is the average weather in a region year after year. It is a pattern. Long-term environmental changes happen in an environment slowly over time, and it affects organisms over generations. So example, the sun, and it is becoming hot in an area. Slowly, water is beginning to dry up. This is affecting animals in that area. They can't drink water, or ponds and lakes are drying. This long-term environmental change will affect the animals and the plants living there. Maybe not soon, but in the future will affect generations. Pollution. Pollution, whether in the sky or trash that we have thrown, is harmful to the environment. If an animal eats the pollution, it can die. Or if the sky becomes dense with fog and harmful toxins, then that is dangerous for the animals that live there. Sustainable. We hope and want an area to live forever. Sustainability is the maintaining of a current community with steady levels without taking or damaging the area. Over time, if an animal cannot adapt or a natural disaster happens and all of the animals in that area die, an example of this would be dinosaurs, the word that we use is extinct, meaning that they are no longer alive. Some animals today, like a rhino, a species of rhino, have become extinct. You cannot find them anymore on Earth.